Oh, hello. Welcome to my workshop and welcome to the show Creations in Clay. My name is Louis Palladini. Tonight, I figured I'd do a fantasy type creature. Everyone sees these in the movies. I figured I would do a dragon. I'll show you this. We'll do a dragon from start to finish. And I'll show you how to do a fire-breathing dragon. I figured that'd be pretty cool. You have all the spikes and things, the horn in this snout, and then I show how he's breathing the fire, and I'll show you how to make that. I think it's a really interesting animal to do, and it's a lot of fun because you can use your creativity. The types of clay that we can use are an oil-based clay, such as this. It never hardens, and you can use it again and again. I used to use this all the time when I was a kid. It's an excellent clay to work with because it never hardens. The other type of clay that you can use is an air hardening clay. This will harden like in a couple of hours or overnight, and you can make the sculpture, and then this you can actually paint. That's the good thing about this particular clay. But once it hardens, you can never use it again, but it's a really good clay to use. My preference for the clay is a clay called Super Sculpey, and you can fire it in the oven at 275 for 15 to 20 minutes, and then it becomes hard. You can do a tremendous amount of detail, and that's why I love to use this clay. It's just really phenomenal to work with, and it's great because you can just use in the home oven, and other types of clay, like you might have a wet-based clay that you'd have to fire in a kiln at 3,000 degrees and just bring it to a special place. But this one here is really good clay. The size clay balls that we want to use tonight are, we're going to use this size ball of clay here. This is what we're going to use for the base. The upper jaw will be this particular size ball of clay, and I put a couple of smaller balls beside this because I wanted to remember to use these are going to be used for part of the eyes. I'll show you how to do that. It's going to be a really cool feature. The next piece that we want to do is the lower jaw, and then this is going to be the tongue. And then for the fire coming out of the dragon's mouth, we're going to use this particular size right here. And I think that I'll show you how to do that. The first thing that we want to do in making the dragon, I'll show you based upon our model here. The piece that we are looking to create right now is this piece here in the lower bottom. See that piece there? That's going to be our base, and it will be the neck also, but I just kind of want to show you the shape that we're looking for. I'll just rotate it and so you can kind of see what it's going to look like. And that's what we want to, that's the shape that we're shooting for. So what we can do is I will take this piece of clay here, and we're going to take it now, and I'm going to just tamp it on the table a little bit. It was round, but you can just kind of work it like this, and we want to work it into the shape, kind of like the dragon's neck. I'll just show you how. Just kind of squeeze it and pull it up a little bit. Just kind of do that. And then we want to tamp that in the table like that. See how it's nice and flat? That's what we want to achieve. Just kind of do that. Kind of tap that in the table again. And we're in good shape with that. The next thing that we want to do, we've done the neck, and I'll show you, we'll do the fire in the front. We're going to take this now, we're going to roll this on the table. It almost looks like a log. Just kind of roll it on the table like that. See how it's extending out? And we're going to take, and I'm just going to make that a little pointed towards the end, and you're going to make this a little narrower down towards the end here. And I'll show you, we'll just kind of work that like that. And we'll do that. So there's one other particular thing that we need to do, and what I'm going to do is I have a piece of tin foil here, and I'm going to take this out now, and and we're going to use this. You can find this, you can just buy this in a regular supermarket. But what we're going to do is I'm going to take and crinkle up the tin foil and we're going to take, now that we've created our shape here for the fire, to create the fire-like effect, we're going to take and we're going to kind of scrape the tin foil on here to create that fire-like effect. So just pull that right along like that. Kind of just do that. Just kind of pull that along, and it creates some nice grooves and things in the clay. You know, and we'll I just go round and round, and we can just do that. So I'll kind of show you what it looks like now that it looks like that. See, I can see the grooves that I made with the tin foil. It's really cool. And that will create the fire-like effect that we want. The next thing that we want to make is we're going to work on the lower jaw. So they're going to take this ball of clay here, and we're going to take, and you're going to take that ball of clay and just kind of squeeze it like this. I'll show you the shape that we want. This is going to extend it out. We're going to take and just extend that out like that. I'll show you the shape that once I just want to kind of work that. You kind of pull on it, and then I'll show you the shape that we want in a minute, what it should look like. I'm going to take also, and I'm going to take my thumb and kind of push it in like this to create the indentation for the jaw. And just kind of push it in like that. See, I'm pushing my thumb in to create that indentation. Just kind of create that indentation. So now, and another thing I want to do is flip it over on the bottom and kind of make a little indentation like this with my thumb. This is the bottom part of the jaw. Just kind of create that little indentation. I'll show you. Push your thumb in a little bit, and you can take your finger, do the same thing. So now when I flip this over, this is the shape that you want for the lower jaw. This is the inside of the lower jaw. See how I kind of push that in? So we're going to put some of the teeth in and around here. And I'm also going to place the tongue in the center. So what we'll do is I'm just going to kind of work it like that. This is the shape so I'll just rotate it one more time. This is the shape that you want for the lower jaw. See how that looks? That's the shape that you want. And that's the shape that you want to create. And then now what I want to do is I want to create the upper jaw. I want to make sure that they both kind of fit together okay before I do any more work on the lower jaw. So we'll pick up this ball of clay here, and with the two pieces of clay for the eyes, and I'm just going to put those aside over here. I'm going to take the upper jaw now. I'm going to take, and I'm just going to squeeze that out. We're going to make it into a shape similar to the lower jaw. So you just kind of work that, almost like you have a potato, but you're going to just keep working it. Keep working it like that. You kind of pull it out. See, I'm kind of pulling it out like that, working between my fingers. And you just want to kind of extend that out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to see if I'm going to take and place it over the lower jaw. I want to see, it should be a little bit bigger, and I might not have pulled it out enough. See how we kind of place those together? I still have to pull that clay out a little more on the top, and I'll show you how we're going to proceed to do that. So what I'm going to do now is squeeze it between my two fingers like this. I'm going to extend it out a little bit. Just going to keep working it. keep working it like that. You just want to work it like that. Now what we're going to do is, as we did with the lower jaw, I'm going to take and press my thumb into the jaw like that. And that's going to be the inside of the mouth on the top part of the jaw. Kind of just stick your fingers in there, kind of create that indentation. So what I'm going to do again is just test these two, put them together to see if they're approximately the right size. It's getting there. So what I'm going to do is maybe just extend the upper jaw just a little bit more. Just squeeze it together a little more. Like that. And it looks like we're almost there. So the way that's what the upper jaw will look like with the indentation in there. You can kind of see how we pushed it in with my thumb there. This is what it will look like from the side. That's what it looked like from the top, shape-wise. And that's what it looked like from the front. So what we will do is we can proceed now to make the tongue in the mouth. We're going to take this little ball of clay here. And we're going to take and make that into the tongue. So what I'm going to do is kind of squeeze that out, make it longer, like this. And I'll show you the shape that we want. You almost want to make it almost triangular, like a long triangle. But I'll show you as we're going to squeeze that like that. I want to make sure you want to make it thin. So just keep squeezing that. Like that. This is the shape that you want for the tongue right now. That's going to be the top part of it. That will be the side. That will be what it looks like from the front. See how it is triangular? So it's almost like a big triangle, but at the bottom it gets a little thinner. The next thing that we want to do the tongue, and I'll show you this is really cool. I've shown this before, like when we did the dinosaur head, we did something similar to this. We're going to take now, and we're going to take the toothpick, and you're going to just run it right down the center of the tongue. Like that. And there's your, it makes a nice little, see the little indentation that I made with the point on the, you can see it right down there. And then what we'll proceed to do now is we want to take that tongue, we're going to grab the lower jaw, and we're going to take the tongue now, and I'll probably twist it a little bit, kind of like in that shape. And I'm going to take and place this into the lower jaw right here. You can see that. So then what we're going to do is I'm going to take and then kind of squeeze that into the bottom like that. You want to attach the tongue like that, kind of push the clay in. See how I kind of just push the clay in a little bit? That will ensure that the tongue has been put into the lower jaw. The next thing that I want to do is I want to make teeth. So what I did, I made a bunch of these little balls here. They're kind of all grouped together right now. You can see those little balls like that. We're going to make teeth. The best way to describe it is we're going to take those and make them almost into like little miniature ice cream cones. And I'll show you how we'll proceed to do that. I'm going to take the first little ball of clay, like this, and I'm going to take it between my fingers and I'm going to roll it into like a little miniature ice cream cone. That's the best, easiest way to describe it. So your tooth will kind of look similar to this. It's just, you're going to curve it a little bit. It's like an upside down ice cream cone. So what we're going to proceed to do next is I'm going to take and place this into the lower jaw like this, take and push the tooth in like this and attach it. Just going to push it down a little bit and attach it. Going to work that in like that. And we're going to do, then we'll proceed to do another tooth. And I'll show you, we're going to take that, make the miniature ice cream cone again. Like that. And I'm going to place that on the other side. So we'll take, and we're going to place that on the other side like this. So I'm just going to look at the piece, make sure they're approximately the same size. So that's kind of, see how I kind of place them in, and I push them in like this. And you got those two. Then I'll proceed to do the third tooth. What we're going to proceed to do is make that a miniature ice cream cone again. And I'm going to roll it between my fingers like that. And this piece here I'm going to place in here like this. What we're going to proceed to do is we're going to put teeth up on this side and up on this side. And now finally we can place the last tooth and final tooth on the lower jaw. What I'm going to do is, now that I've rolled it between my fingers like that ice cream cone, I'm going to take and just place it right here. Just place it right there. So now you can see that all the teeth are on the lower jaw now. I'll show you what they look like from the side. This is what they look like from the top. And that's what they look like from the other side. It's really cool. And then you have the tongue and the mouth too. And we will proceed to do the top part of the jaw right now. We want to do the same exact thing with the teeth and the upper jaw that we did in the lower jaw. So we're going to take our upper jaw now. I'll proceed to take that little ball of clay, and I'm going to roll it like an ice cream cone. Like that. So that's what it will look like. You know, it's very tiny. I'm going to take and I'm going to place that into the dinosaur's mouth right now, or the dragon's mouth. I'm going to take them, just place it like that. See, I'm just placing that into the mouth. You take and you push that down with your finger to work the clay, and that way you'll ensure that it stays in there. I'll proceed to do the next tooth. I'm going to take and I'm going to roll that in between my fingers, make that miniature ice cream cone. Like that. See that? And then we'll proceed. I'm going to pick up the upper jaw and I'm going to put that right in front. So you can see I'm just kind of squeezing that in there like that. Just kind of pushing that in like that. You know, we want to make those tooth. I'm going to take and I will proceed to put another tooth. I'm going to roll that like I said, I'll just show you, it looks like that little ice cream cone. You're going to roll it between your fingers, round it out, and then that's what it should look like. That little tiny tooth. See how it, very round, looks like an upside down ice cream cone. And I'll proceed to place that in the mouth here. So what we're going to do is, see, we'll place that other tooth like that. And finally, I'm going to put the last and final tooth into the mouth. I've rolled it like the cone. I'm going to take and I'm going to place it right here. You see, I just kind of push it in and then I just kind of attach it in that manner like that. So now that this is done, what we can proceed to do is I want to take and put these two pieces of the jaw together. So we're going to take, and I'm going to take the upper jaw here and the lower jaw, and we're just kind of squeeze them together like this. So what I'm going to do is kind of work the clay together now like that. See how I'm kind of pulling that clay together? I want to make sure that the jaws are attached this way. And I'm going to proceed to do the same on the other side, like this. And what I want to try to do is keep that space in the jaw so it doesn't, and I might take another little extra piece of clay here to kind of, like the additive technique, I want to put some clay in here in the jaw to kind of keep it open. So I'm going to place that in there, and I just want to make sure that we have some clay in there to ensure that the jaw stays open. And then I'll proceed to do that on the other side too. take a little piece of clay and add it right here and kind of push that in to ensure that the jaws stay open. I can also use my little toothpick. I'm going to kind of push that in a little bit to kind of push that in. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to take, and now we want to place this, get our base that we made earlier, and we want to take and place the top of the jaw here and kind of work this in like this. Push it in. See how I'm pushing that in? And now we're going to take and work that clay into the jaw. So you're going to take, we might even take some extra clay here, which I think would be a good idea. And I'm going to take and work that neck area into the jaw. Take that and attach them really well. Want to attach that extremely well so they don't come apart. So we'll put that together. And I just want to make sure that underneath, I'm going to look all around, make sure that if I need to, I'll take the toothpick, kind of work, see I'm working that underneath. And we want to make sure that the jaw stays open, because if it closes, we'll kind of ruin our work on the teeth. But now we're going to take and put this down for a second. Make sure it will stand up on its own. Okay. It does look like it will stand on its own, which is important. And we'll proceed to do that. The next thing that we want to do is I want to make a horn on top of the dinosaur's head. I'll show you with the unpainted version. I'm going to grab this one here, and we want to create the horn here now, and we also want to create the eyes that are right here. See these eyes? They're really cool. We want to create those eyes, and we're going to create the horn next. So I'll proceed to show you how we're going to do that. I'll put this back over here. We're going to take some clay off of here. And we're going to use the additive technique. A lot of times I like to have the clay balls made up beforehand, but there were just so many pieces to this, and it's just easy to kind of make it up now. So what we want to do is, see, I kind of want to make the shape of the horn. So I kind of like, I want to make it pointed like this. See, I'm kind of working that. And I'll show you the shape that we're looking for. Just kind of work it like that. Okay, so from the side, see, you get the shape of the horn. That's what it will look like from the front. That's what it will look like from the side. And that's what it looks like, you know, from the back. So that's what this is what it will look like from the top. So what I'm going to proceed to do is take and put this right up here on the center of his nose, the horn. So you're going to just take and kind of work that in with your fingers a little bit on all sides. And we can take the toothpick also. I'm going to take and just work that in like that. Push that, the toothpick, kind of work that clay so and we'll go all around. And I'll do that, I'll show you. We'll do that on the other side also. You just kind of take that and push it down with the toothpick like that, because you want to make sure it's securely attached. One of the things that I think we'll do at this point right now is I want to take the tin foil now, and I want to kind of rough up the horn. So we're going to take and kind of go up with it. We're going to create some of those lines. So you take the horn and just kind of take the tin foil and kind of go up. You want to create that, rough it up like that. See, I'm just kind of roughing it up with the tin foil. We're going to go all the way around like that. I want to rough it up. So I'm just going to rough it up. Another thing that we want to do now is I want to do the eyes. Now that we've roughed that up, I'm going to take You can take some little balls of clay, and I'll show you the size that we want. We're going to take them off here. I'll show you approximately the same size. And let me see, I just want to make sure, and I'll show you the size that we're shooting for. These are the two eyes that we just made. You make these little balls of clay like this. They're kind of rolling around on my hand. And we're going to place those on top of the dinosaurs, or the dragon's head. Place that right here. And then we'll place it on the other side also, but in approximately the same location. Let's see. I'm just going to have a little sip of water. Okay. So now we're going to proceed to make the eyes. I'm going to take these two balls of clay here, and I'm going to proceed to make the eyes. The thing that we want to do is I want to show you what I did last night. We're going to take this piece here and create those eyes. So we're going to go up and over that eyeball, and I'll show you how to create that particular shape. It's really cool. And then we're going to take, in the eyeball that I just put on there, we're going to poke it, and then we're going to make like a line or a hole, and it creates a really cool effect. So we'll take these pieces here. I'll show you. We're going to take, and I'll show you the shape that we're going to create. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of making both sides narrow. See, this is the shape that we're proceeding to making. And what we're going to do too is I'm going to take and kind of put my thumb inside it. So I'll show you the shape that we want. This is the shape that you want. See how I kind of created, this is the piece that will go up and over. That's what it looks like. See, it kind of has that indentation, and this is the piece from the top. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take and we're going to place this right here, and we're going to, like that. I'm going to pull it up a little bit. See how I'm kind of placing it over the eyeball? And what we want to do is take that piece now and kind of pull down on it. Like this. See that? It's going to pull down like that. And then we're going to go to the other side here and kind of work that clay and attach that at that point. You take and just attach that. So, and we're going to proceed to do the same for the other side. I'll show you how to do that. We'll take, and we're going to create that shape again. Like that. And then I'm going to take and make that little indentation again. Make that little indentation. So that's basically the shape that you want, kind of like that. It's kind of like hollowed out. That's what it looks like from the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and put that up and over the eye. So I'm going to take now, see how I'm going to take that piece, see how we got the eye placed. I'm going to take and put that down over here like this. So you kind of just place that like that. And then you're going to take this side too and kind of push that down like that from that side. So it's kind of really cool the way it just kind of went up and over the eye. And I'll make sure we do the same on both sides. So that's what it will look like from this side. See the eye, isn't that cool? And then what we'll do is we're going to look at, you got this eye too. So the next step in the process here, we're going to do some really neat stuff. I'm going to show you, we need a sculpting tool right now. So there's some sculpting tools such as these that you can buy in any art store. And we're going to use one of these tools. I'll show you the tool that you want to use. This tool right here, and it's got, you can see it has that triangular head. That's what we're going to use to make the indentations for the eye. We'll also use the sculpting tool to make scales. So I'll show you how to proceed to make the eye. So what you do is you take this and you go on the top of the eye now, and you just take the tool here like this, and you just kind of make little indentations like this. And you go like that. And we'll proceed to do it on the other side too. So I'll show you, see the little indentations that we just made? That's the effect that you want to create. And we're going to proceed to do that on the other side also. And I'll show you how we'll do that. We'll do, just kind of, I think it makes the dragon look a little scarier, or, you know, makes them look more menacing. So we'll do that. And now what we'll proceed to do too is for our dragon, we want to make the eyes. So remember I was telling you with the eye here, we can take, I'm going to take the toothpick here, and we're going to put this into the eye like this. And then you kind of want to move that back and forth like that. See how cool that eye looks now? And we're going to proceed to do that to the other side. I'm going to take and place this into the eyeball and just kind of move it up and down like this. And see how it creates a really nice effect for the eye. And another thing that we want to do also is we want to proceed to make the nostrils in the front. So we're going to take this and we're just going to kind of go back and forth. We're going to put the toothpick in like this and go back and forth like that. And then I'll proceed to do the same on the other side. I want to make sure I got it lined up in approximately the same spot. So what we're going to do, as you can see here, is you just take and go back and forth, back and forth. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at it like this and just kind of make sure that it's close to where I want it to be. You might not get it perfect, but the most important thing is see how you just kind of make those little holes. See how I made that? And then I made it on that side. So the next step in the process that we want to do is we want to take, and I'll show you how to make scales. You're going to take and make the scales like this. You're going to take the sculpting tool and make little scales like this. And you're going to make them all over the dragon head, basically, and down the neck area here. You're going to take and, so we're making just taking the tool, and just kind of take the triangular end and just push it in and create that little triangular shape. And you're going to make that all around the neck. You'll also proceed to do that on the jaw here too. Just want to kind of give you an idea what we're doing. Just kind of take that, and you're going to go all the way around the dragon like that. You're going to do it on the upper jaw here. It gives it the effect of the scales. It's really cool. So you go all the way around. But I'm just going to show you, I was just trying to show you the technique for that. And you're going to proceed to make that all around the dragon. And I'll show you what the finished one looked like with the scales. So just to give you an idea, this is the version I did last night. See all the scales that I made? This is a little different than the painted version, but all the nice scales. You can see all the nice scales in along the jaw here. I'll try to rotate it. You can see them up here. You can see them up here on the hood. And you can see that whole area there. But see how nice the eye looks too? I was showing you how we made that hole. See how cool that looks? It really gives it a nice effect. And then by making those little lines here, it makes it look more reptilian. It's really cool with that feature. So the next step in the process that we want to take is I will show you, we're going to take and make that little hood that's in the back. So I'm going to take the additive technique, and I'm going to take this clay, and I'm going to take and make that little, and what I mean by hood is on this dragon here, the one that's painted, this is like the little hood area that I want to make. So I can attach some spikes here. We're going to do 4 different spikes, but that's like the little hood in the back that we want to attach. We'll proceed to make that hood. So what I'm going to do is take this clay and almost kind of squeeze it, wrap it around. I'll show you the shape that we're looking for. Okay, so now the hood, see how the piece of clay looks? That's what we want to do for the hood. So what I'm going to do is we're going to proceed to put that in the back of the dragon's head. So we're going to take this, go behind the dragon, and we're kind of going to push that to work it in. I'm going to take and just work that in. Let me see if I can get that. And you know what I think we'll do in this situation too is I want to add some more clay. We got that hood in the back, but I want to add more clay in this area here to make sure it's strong enough to stay. So I'm going to take some added clay and use the additive technique, and I'm going to take on this side here, and I'm going to add this clay to make this stronger. So we're going to take that, and I'm going to kind of work it into both sides. That way we can make sure that everything will stay together. Okay, that looks, and we're going to just kind of work that and see how I've taken that clay and it's strengthened that whole area. We'll proceed to do that on the other side. I'm going to take some clay and use the additive technique. And I'm going to take and add that. We'll just take this clay and kind of, see I'm taking the clay and I'm just placing it right there. There's no particular shape for it. You just kind of work that in. See, I'm just kind of working that in like that. And I'll do the same on the front part here too. Just kind of work that clay in like that. Now that we have the hood made, in the back, this area here, we're going to develop some spikes. So what we're going to proceed to do, I don't want to ruin his jaw there. We're going to take, we have 4 balls of clay for the spikes, which are right here. And the quickest way to make these is we're going to use our table. So we're going to take and roll these on the table, like this. And I'll show you the shape that we're looking for. You kind of roll that shape. We got the spikes. And we're going to roll this on the table like that. And then you can take, almost think of like a giant ice cream cone, but a really thin ice cream cone. So this is the shape that you're looking for. See how it almost looks like the spike or a horn? So that's what it will look like, and that's what it will look like from the top. So we're going to make 4 of those, so we're going to proceed to make the other ones. And sometimes it's easy, you roll them, but then sometimes you can squeeze them with your fingers like this, and you can make them faster that way. In this situation, I think it might be easier for me just to do it like this. And like I said, this is the shape that you're looking for right here. It almost looks like a giant icicle. If you flipped it upside down, it looks like a giant icicle. And we'll do the same for the other two. We can roll those on the table. Like that. And then to finish this out, I'm just going to use my fingers, because that was just enough to get it started. Just take and just kind of squeeze it like that. And like I said, it almost looked like a giant icicle. That's the easiest way to describe it. And we'll make the fourth one. And we're going to roll that on the table. Like that. And I'll show you, it's going to be easier for me to kind of squeeze it out and make it. Like that. Going to kind of work that between my fingers. And I'll see they're approximately the same size, which is good. So one of the things I want to do is, we have this tool here, the sculpting tool. If you see that it's got a very interesting texture on it right here on the metal. It's got like little indentations on it. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to take and we're going to roll this onto the pieces here like this. So we're going to do all four pieces like this. We're going to roll this and go all the way around with our little tool. And just roll the tool, and it gives it a really nice texture for the spikes. I'll try to show you what it will look like when we're... So you can kind of see that it has a very interesting looking texture that we have here. I don't know if we can get a close-up of that, and but it's a very interesting texture. So what we would like to do is we'd like to put that on all four pieces. So I'll proceed to show you how, just roll it like that. And we're going to do it on all four. For the purpose of the demonstration, I'll just show a few of them. So what we want to do with these spikes now is we're going to attach them to that little area in the back of the head. So I'm going to take this here, and what I would do is I'd place it like behind here, and just kind of squeeze that in like that. That area. Just kind of squeeze that together. And then we can and then we're going to proceed to do that, put all four of them on in that manner. I'm going to proceed to do it on this area also. Like that. See, I'm just placing that. And I'll turn that around so you can kind of see where I'm placing it. Just kind of place it like that. And you kind of squeeze it in, squeeze the clay into those two pieces together. And then we'll proceed to do the other two. I think we'll do this one next because it's similar to this one here. We're going to put that right there, that one. Like that. That way, kind of squeeze it in. And just kind of work that in the back like that. Make sure it's firmly attached. And we're going to proceed to do the fourth one. And I'll put that right about there. Kind of squeeze that in like that. And work that clay in. See, I'm kind of working into the back. You know, and then from the front, you kind of take and work it like that. So this one here, as you can see how we got the four spikes? I made these slightly different than the other two versions, but you know, you can create your own dragon. You can put the spikes higher, lower, you could add more spikes, but I'm just showing you the basics so you can basically take and create your own dragon. You got to be careful because in this situation, like you had just seen my jaws kind of hitting in some situations. So, like I said, you want to take this tool and make the scales all around this little ring too. So make them all around here. You're going to do the complete dragon head. in that manner. These here, you've already made the texture on these, so you don't have to worry about that. And then the next thing that we want to do, once you've made all the scales, is we're going to take this piece here for the fire-breathing dragon. I'm going to place this on the table, down like that, and we're going to take and we're going to push these two pieces together like this. I'm going to push this into the jaw. See how I did that? And then what you can do is take the toothpick and kind of work those together like that. You can kind of push the clay up against like that and go all the way around in that manner. You're going to take and you're going to work that in like that and work that. And what we'll do is we'll make sure that our dragon, that his mouth is open wide enough. So I've shown you how to do the entire sculpture for the dragon, but I'll show you what it should look like when it's done. In this situation here, the dragon, I had the spikes going down, but in the other sculpture, I had those going up. But you should see how we get all the scales. This is a good example of the way the scales should look. By using that tool, you can create all these really cool looking scales all around the dragon head. And you want to do that around the entire dragon head. You can see them here on the jaw. And you can see how nicely the eyes came out. It's just a really cool feature. So now you have your fire-breathing dragon head. So I will show you what the other one looked like. You can, it's good to experiment. See how like this one here, I left the spikes higher? And, you can experiment. And on this one here, I also added a little sail. I probably could show you how I could add that. That's a very easy process. I'll just add that little sail too, so that way you can see what it will look like. We'll take and add some clay. You're going to take some clay, use the additive technique now. And, you can use whatever amount of clay you want. You can make this bigger or smaller, this little sail. So I'll show you what I'm going to do for mine. The sail, I want to make it approximately this size, in this shape. So that's the shape that I want for the sail. That's what it will look like from the very top, and that's what it will look like from the side. What we want to do is, for the sail, to make it look interesting, I'm going to take and go up and down the sail, take the toothpick like this, and just make little indentations. Like that. You make little indentations, and you go up and down the whole piece like that. And then what I want to do is we can make some like little lines like this, little squiggly lines on there to kind of give it an interesting texture, like that. And we'll proceed to do that on both sides. You want to make that, and then we'll do that on the other side also. So you're going to take and just kind of create those squiggly lines. Like that. Do that. And we'll just make those little lines. And then you can take and proceed. We're going to put this on top of the dinosaur head. So we're going to go back to the dinosaur head, and you kind of just push that down on top of the head like this. So I'm pushing that in the center. And what you can do is just take the toothpick and kind of work that in so it's attached. Push that in. You just take that. See, I'm just kind of pushing that in from, and you're going to do that on both sides like that. I'll move that over there. And I'll show you, we want to do it from this side too. See, I'm taking the toothpick and kind of working that in to the top of the head. You go all the way along like that. You want it even behind here. So that's what your little sail will look like on top of his head. See how that is? You want to do that, and that's what it looks like from the side. It's really cool. So what I'll proceed to do now is move this out of the way. We're done with the sculpture, and I'm going to proceed to show you how to paint this. So I'm going to use acrylic paints, which can be bought in any art store, and we'll use several different colors. I'll show you the colors that I like to use. You can experiment. You can use different colors that I'm using, but I just like these particular colors that I was using last night. We're going to use almost like it almost looks like a bluish green. We're going to use green. We're going to use white. We're going to use pink, and I'll show you which each one of these colors. Pink. We're going to use red, and we're going to use orange, and then we're going to use yellow. Here, the orange and the yellow are going to be used for the fire. There's going to be several different types of brushes that we're going to use here. For some of the smaller things, I'll show you the types of brushes that we'll be using. For some of the smaller work, we'll be using these size brushes here. I'll show you. I have about 5 different brushes here. And you can kind of see the size of the heads. Those what I want to use for doing the more detailed work. For the less detailed work, I always like to use bigger brushes. I have a couple of bigger brushes here that we'll use for like painting the spikes in the body, because that'll make it very easy to cover. I think the first thing that we'll do is I'll show you how to paint the spikes in the horn. We'll use this blue-green, and I'll show you how we'll proceed to do that. I will move these out of the way. I want to move these paints to the side so they don't get in our way. And I'll show you what we'll do. We're going to paint, I'll show you the horns and the spike. We're going to do the horn right on top of his nose, and we're going to paint that. So what you want to do is take the bluish green paint and go up and down, up and down, up and down, like this, back and forth, up and down, back and forth. You want to do that all the way around. You're going to paint that like that. And then the other things that you're going to paint, that bluish green color, are the spikes that we put on there. You want to take these now and you want to go back and forth on those also. Just go back and forth, back and forth. So you go back and forth, like that. You'll paint all the spikes in that manner. Do back and forth like that. So we can see you go back and forth, back and forth. And I'll show you on the other side. So you're just going to go back and forth like that. And you'll paint all the spikes in that manner with that particular color. The next thing that we want to paint is, I think I'll use this paintbrush again. I like its size. And we're going to use just need to dry this off a little bit. We're going to use orange paint for the fire. So I'm going to show you, we're going to take the orange, I'm going to take that, and we're going to paint in the front. You have what looks like the fire, and just go back and forth, back and forth. And we're going to proceed to do that. You want to do it all the way around. Back and forth, back and forth. Back and forth, like this. And you're going to paint all the way around. Sometimes what you might want to do is just paint the top part and then paint the bottom part afterward, because you want to let it dry. You might be able to put this on its side. Another thing that I want to do is we want to use the yellow paint, and I'll show you. We'll do something really cool with this. And then we're going to put like little flecks of yellow on the orange paint. So I'm going to take the yellow paint now, and what you want to do is kind of just take and put a little yellow here, a little yellow there, make like little flicks with a brush. Like that. Little flicks. See how that's coming out? So it kind of gives it that yellow and orange flame for fire. And that's why you want to proceed to paint it in that manner. That's a really cool effect. I'll show you now how to do the eyes. Another thing that we want to do for the eyes, which is really cool, is we're going to take the yellow and we're going to paint now. We're going to paint this eye area. The eyeball itself will paint yellow. And I'll show you. I'm going to paint this like this. Like that. And we'll proceed to do the other side. I'll show you. We want to paint the other eyeball yellow. Right here. Like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to paint black in there. And I'll show you, it's going to come out really neat. I'm going to take one of the small brushes. I have a very small brush that I'll use. Let's see, I don't know if we did get the black. It doesn't look like I grabbed that one, but I will grab it now. We'll take the black. We'll paint the eyeballs. So the way we paint the eyeballs is I'm going to take this paint now and I'm going to go, let's see, I just want to make sure I don't have too much paint on there. And we're going to go and I'm going to dip it into the eyeball like this. See that? See how the yellow and the contrast with the black, it really comes out nice. I'll proceed to do the other one. We'll flip it around and I'll put it in the other one, just kind of dip it in the hole. You're putting it inside the hole you made for the eyeball. See how that comes out? It has a really nice effect when you put the black in there like that. The next thing that we want to do is I'll show you, we probably want to do the mouth next. And I'll show you how we'll proceed with that. We're going to use some of these smaller brushes here. We were going to paint, we had pink, because we do have the tongue in the mouth. And we'll proceed to do that. I'm going to take the pink here, and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to, it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to try to go in there. See the tongue that's in there? I'll just kind of touch it with the brush right there. Right in there, we want to paint the tongue pink. You just have to be very careful the way you do it. You just kind of go back and forth, back and forth. And you see how you can kind of see the tongue there? You want to do that in that manner. And then you also want to paint red inside the mouth. So what we'll do is I'll clean this brush off a little bit. And we'll proceed to paint the red in the mouth. And I'll flip this upside down. And I'll try to see if you can, let me see if I can get the right angle here. You just kind of take the red, you go back and forth like this. And you're going to do that both in the top and the bottom. See that? It's kind of hard to see, but you want to do that. Do the top and the bottom in that manner. Go back and forth. And then we'll proceed to do the teeth. And I'll show you how we'll do those. I'll clean this brush off. And we're going to use white for that. So now with the teeth, we can just paint them right here like that. You just kind of go back and forth, back and forth. And then you also kind of want to look in the mouth, and you get them from the other side too. You can get them from both sides. So you want to paint all the teeth in that manner. See, I'm just back and forth, back and forth. You just kind of paint all the teeth white, back and forth like that. And what we'll proceed to also do is we're going to paint the body now. I'll show you how to paint the body. We're going to take the green paint for that one. And I'll show you, we want to take, and we want to paint that one. You're just going to go back and forth, up and down, back and forth like that. See how we're doing that? In that manner. And you want to paint the entire head that way. You want to do the jaw. You can do the back and forth, like that. You do the upper jaw here. Back and forth, back and forth. And then you want to do it up here too. You want to paint all around the eyes. See that, how we're painting? So you're going to paint all around. Like that. See how now this appears to be a really nice contrast when you start mixing all these colors together. So I'll proceed to show you what the final product will look like when you paint it. The one that I painted last night, this is what the final version will look like. See how you got the orange and you got the like little flecks of yellow in there to create that fire. I'll kind of do that. You got the blue-green for the horn. You got that nice little sail that we made, the 4 spikes. You know, you've got that, see how it's really cool with the eye? You got that nice yellow eye with the black. See how that effect is really cool. And with all the scales and things, it looks like a real dragon. So then you have the white in the mouth. I had painted, it's hard to kind of see the tongue, but you paint the tongue the pink. I'll try to get that angle so you can kind of see it, the pink. And you put I'll flip that over, you can kind of see the red in the mouth in there. And so your final product for the dragon is pretty cool. Now, what I had shown you here today, you can manipulate the dragon and maybe look at it a little different. You know, like each one of these dragons had a little different look, but I think it's pretty cool when you put it all together. It's a very cool animal to make, and I really enjoy doing this one. And I do want to thank you for coming to Creations in Clay today, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Thanks for coming. Hi kids, how would you like to win some professional modeling clay like the one that I used in the show? Please send pictures of your creations in clay and we will enter them into a drawing. You can send by mail or email, and I can't wait to see what you've been up to.